It's the Commodore from the Clan of the Grey Wolf, and you are watching the weekly Wringer series here on the brand new clanofthegraywolf.com. I hope you all are enjoying the refresh of the site that is ongoing and is quite nearly completed at this point. But you can tell that's why I haven't posted for a little while. Obviously, we've had a lot of time that's been put into getting the site to where it is right now. And also, I really didn't want to post something during our little freeze section where you guys might be able to comment on a video, but then they wouldn't be migrated to the new site. And we're past all that, so I don't have to worry about it now, which is great. But at the time, I had no idea. So you're basically seeing a little bit more time put in between videos this week, just because of the reboot of the website. And it gave me a good, I guess, a good point to reflect on what kind of things I like about the Weekly Wringer and what kind of things I might want to change a little bit in the future. And I think that's going to be evolving pretty soon. This one's going to be more or less more traditional because it's just what I know and what I'm comfortable with. But the site reboot has given all of us a few more ideas about how the Weekly Wringer should be run, and I hope that will be something we can do in the future, including one of the things I want to do starting today and moving forward is we've had a lot of clamoring about MP3 copies of the Weekly Wringers. A lot of you probably don't watch the video on the internet, but instead might like to be able to actually, some of you said, like to actually be able to download it, listen to it on your commute or any other place that you listen to mobile music. Why anyone would want to listen to my voice in any regard is still beyond me. But if you do, then I'm going to start offering that today. And what I hope to do as well over the next couple weeks, months, is to actually get back and do recordings, or not recordings necessarily, but I want to be able to pull the audio out of all the old Weekly Wringers and make them available in audio format as well. So if you are so inclined, you could probably listen to me talk around an entire 24-hour period. I don't know, again, why you'd ever want to do that, but you could if you wanted to. Anyway, we had a lot of people make requests in that regard, and I felt like that was long overdue. Considering our capability to do it is not that incredibly difficult. So I'm going to try to offer that moving forward, and there's lots more to come past that as well. I want to do a lot more in terms of keeping with the simplicity of production, but kind of ratcheting things up a little bit. We've, Rue, myself, Mark, have had a few conversations around what the Wringer should continue to look like in the future, and I'm very confident we're going to be able to deploy a product you guys will be very, very happy with as well. So give me some time. Going to continue to work on this. Obviously, you guys know the Clan of the Grey Wolf is, although taking up a ton of our time at the moment because of the conversion, is but a hobby project, and one that we have to balance within the context of our own lives. So thank you all for your patience. And by the way, I'll echo Mark's sentiments to tell you that I thank you all for your time during the process to understand how we can do things a little bit better and give us feedback and how to fix certain things. We've definitely put that to the test. As always, if you guys have any comments for me, you can send me an email at commodore128@clanofthegraywolf.com. Or you can always, leave comments with the site as it is right now. That's pretty much how we read everything that goes on. We know what the pulse of the website is by the website itself. So please let us know what we can do to change things, and we will definitely take those suggestions. And as always with the Weekly Wringer, if you have any ideas, I have a large database, if you will, of Weekly Wringer possible questions. If you have any ideas for a question you'd like to see in the Weekly Wringer, please let me know. Again, email me at commodore128@clanofthegraywolf.com. All right, that being said, we're going to move right on to our video for today. The show today is going to be encompassed by a conversation about the past. You guys answered in a big way regarding the first and most wonderful kind of world-changing, life-altering experiences with the internet. They were varied, and I thought very well played. I've got my own answers, which I always will give you, and then I'm going to ask you a question next week, which really goes to talk about some of really taking what we've done with the website and using that as a basis to ask a question that I think you guys will be particularly interested in for analyzing a lot of recent pop culture in for next week's question. So stay tuned for that. All right. Now, as I always do, I like to welcome new members to the site. Now, this week is going to be a little bit dicey because I still haven't figured it all out 100%. To be honest, guys, with all the kind of changing in terms of the site, I wasn't able to necessarily just see an icon and go, oh yeah, I remember these people, right? So if I miss someone, don't take personal offense. Send me an email or whatever and let me know, hey, I really am new here and you just totally blew over me, and I'll get back on that. But today we had a new member, Mark 1K1. I'm going to just say Mark 1001. How's that sound? Welcome to you, Mark. Great to have you as a part of the community as well. Moving forward, guys, the comments always keep the Weekly Ringer functioning. That's why we need them. So all of you that comment, keep the show alive and keep the show moving. And to be honest with you, as the site relaunches now, I went back and watched a few of the very early Weekly Ringers, and I even found some very super high, top secret footage of something that happened long before I launched the Weekly Ringer, where I was just testing the format of me talking in front of a camera. That might or might not be released in the future. I just want to give you guys a heads up for that. If you have any kind of, if you'd like to see that, please let me know. But trust me, it's not nearly as engaging as this material. In any case, so welcome to you, Mark 1K1. Thank you for being a part of the community, and thank you to all of you who keep commenting to keep me alive and have kept me alive all of this time. Lots more to come and lots more to cover in the future in the Weekly Ringer. All right, last week, if you will recall, I asked you a question about the first experiences you had with the internet that definitely, I don't know, I wanted to say necessarily changed your life, but changed the way that you thought the internet was going to work, right? So, the first time you used it to do something that was life-altering, or that you thought would really catch on and really change the way people live their lives. That's what I asked you for last week, and you guys came up with a lot of answers in droves. As I'm always doing now, I'm going to take a step back and look at some of the themes that resonated throughout the community. One was that online gaming was a huge part of this. I know by and large we are a gaming community, even though we talk about a lot more things, obviously, than just gaming. But what was interesting to me is that many of you took that question I asked and really became more, or the answer was really around when you played your first real online games, and that changed things for you. I am certainly sympathetic to this position. I definitely understand it, and I also have a lot of memories of gaming my own. That certainly lend themselves to being some of my better memories on the internet. So I have that. I get what you guys are saying, and I'm not surprised that was something that kind of bled through almost every comment I saw. And the second thing that we saw, I think, really going throughout all of the comments was really the fact that the internet was allowing you to connect to people that you normally would not necessarily connect with by virtue of, communication media before the internet came along. Couldn't agree more about that as well. I think that's part of what the allure of the internet really is. I'm not sure that it's necessarily one that is at the heart of what everyone sees as that moment that changed everything for them on the internet, but I certainly understand that to some degree. It was certainly the cause for making you think, right? Wow, I'm connecting with people that are in a completely different part of the world from me. That leads me into the first comment I wanted to talk about, which was Mr. K. I want to bring highlight to that comment, which was a brilliant story. And the question was asked by Mr. K of me, and let me take this opportunity to answer him and to invite all of you. The reason I started the Weekly Ringer was not because I wanted necessarily to just engage people intellectually. That is a big piece of it. I want to engage you all intellectually about a lot of the things that we do. And I'm very excited about having a very elevated conversation. I like that. That's part of what I like to do here. You can find a lot of people out there that talk about video games that have no idea what they're talking about and are also very juvenile. That's not what you find here at the Clan of the Grey Wolf, and it's certainly not what you find here at the Weekly Ringer. But the real reason I started it was because I wanted to hear your stories, your thoughts. I wanted to know what the community was thinking. And I wanted to see if they were the same as mine. I could just sit here and talk about what I think all day long. But it's great to hear about what you guys have and see that we come together as a community as a result. Mr. K's story does that wonderfully. I love hearing about what kind of stuff really made up your childhood, or what kind of things you use the internet to do today, or how you involve yourself with movies today, or how TV affects your life, or any of these kinds of things that we've talked about in the Weekly Ringer, which have been topics far and wide, as all of you that have been a part of it for a long time know very well. So, that being said, please continue to share personal stories. I love them. I find them very highly entertaining. If you don't find them highly entertaining, then this is probably not the site for you. All right, so that being said, Mr. K talked about, we're asked the question first about pictures. I think it's great. Share pictures. Multimedia is great. Hopefully, on our conversion to WordPress, it will be a little bit more friendly in regard to you guys being able to post multimedia content. I'm excited to see that. I like that. I think that's a great part of it. But what's also interesting, and this is a thought about the Weekly Ringer, is that it's almost become that now you guys give me such great content that it's almost impossible to wrap it all up inside of a week. But that's a different story. That's my problem, not yours. So keep that stuff coming. But really what Mr. K was talking about was a question of connecting to people that he never would have connected to otherwise, by virtue of the power of the internet, and by the fact that the internet is a community that enabled him to kind of gravitate toward other folks that have similar interests to him. Love it. I think it's a great story. I think it really is something that opens your eyes. If you were on the internet in those early days, very similar to what Mr. K was talking about, that was the eye-opener. Now, there were a lot of new politics and a lot of new ways of talking to people. I'm always amazed at how those things evolve over time. That's the course of study for many people over there, currently in academia. Luckily, I'm not one of those people, but I would be if I were there. I love the idea of how these things evolve over time, how the rules of engagement evolve over time. But back then, it really was, you just kind of connected with people the same way that you would at your school. And you just thought, well, really the internet just allows me to go from a pool of people this big to a pool of people this big, right? Well, that's great, but at the end of the day, it's probably more than that. You get to go and actually hone in, and this is true of a lot of things on the internet. You get to kind of hone in on people that think about the same things, or enjoy the same things, or have interest in the same things, passions in the same things that you like, be they very mundane and things that you would like to be a part of every single day, or be they something that's kind of outlandish, not a lot of people probably engage with on a day-to-day basis, and you just want to find more people that think that way. Mr. K tells a great story about that. I certainly understand that as an eye-opening moment, and I certainly respect it. I think it's a great answer. Jerome Flintsteel, had a moment in seeing eBay as an e-commerce site, right? That wasn't just an e-commerce site. eBay was a site that, as you can look at eBay today, they take the number one premise is that most people out there are very good people, and that they just want to do things. They just want to, they have things in their garage and they want to get rid of them. Then the way to do it is probably to get some value for it and try to find somebody out there on the internet that has value with it as well. Now, Jerome Flintsteel specifically talks about all of a sudden walking through a garage, you have a very different lens about things. You start looking around and you go, man, I don't need any of this stuff anymore, but I could probably get a couple bucks for them. All I got to do is put them out on eBay. It opened up a whole new market. Many of you remember the days that eBay was just about celebrity memorabilia and Beanie Babies. That was really all people sold on eBay. Now, I bought a car on eBay, for God's sakes. You can buy almost anything you could think of on eBay. But think of the first moment. I like this idea that Jerome Flintsteel brings up here, which is that you can look around and you can have a new lens of seeing the world around you going, man, if I go to a store and I buy everything that's on sale this week, I can go out on eBay and mark them up $10 next week, and everyone will go buy them for me, and I can make 10 bucks a pop. It takes a lot of work, but a lot of people actually quit their jobs and started doing this at home full time. I'm not sure that stuff panned out really well now that you have places like Amazon and all that e-commerce stuff we talked about in the last Echo Screen Live, where there are people that basically are able to go out and connect with other retailers that do this on a wholesale day-to-day basis.